You may not notice it at first. The noise. It does not come from the world outside, but from somewhere closer, somewhere quieter. It begins as a small thought, something you said earlier, something you should have done differently. A conversation replaying itself long after it ended, and suddenly your mind is no longer a place of rest. It becomes a courtroom. You are the accused, the judge, the witness, and the executioner. You analyze every word. You imagine every possible future. You relive every past mistake. And the strange part is this: nothing is happening. You are safe. You are sitting still. Life in this exact moment asks nothing urgent of you. Yet inside there is tension, pressure, a constant mental storm. Perhaps you have felt it late at night, when the world becomes silent, but your mind refuses to follow. The Stoics understood this feeling long before smartphones, deadlines, or endless notifications existed. They knew that the greatest suffering of human beings does not come from events, but from interpretation. You live in an age that rewards thinking, planning, predicting, optimizing, comparing. You are told that if you think hard enough, long enough, carefully enough, you can prevent pain. So you try. You rehearse conversations before they happen. You replay interactions after they end. You imagine outcomes that may never arrive. Overthinking disguises itself as responsibility. It whispers, "If I analyze enough, I will be safe." But slowly, without realizing it, thinking stops serving you and begins controlling you. You wake up tired not because of physical labor, but because your mind never truly rested. You hesitate before speaking. You doubt decisions already made. You fear invisible judgments from people who are not even thinking about you. Modern life intensifies this condition. You scroll through perfect lives, measured successes, curated happiness. Every image becomes a silent comparison. Every success you witness becomes a question about your own worth. And so the mind accelerates. What if I'm behind? What if I fail? What if they misunderstood me? What if I chose wrong? The tragedy is not that you think too much. The tragedy is that you believe every thought deserves your attention. Long ago, a Roman emperor sat alone at night, writing thoughts to himself. He ruled an empire, commanded armies, held immense power. Yet his greatest battle was not political. It was internal. He reminded himself of something simple. You have power over your mind, not outside events. The Stoics did not attempt to eliminate thinking. They learned something deeper. They learned how to stop obeying every thought, because thoughts are not commands. They are appearances, like clouds passing across the sky. Some dark, some beautiful, some frightening, but none permanent. Overthinking begins the moment you forget this distinction. You stop observing thoughts and begin believing them. Imagine this quietly. You receive a message, a short reply, a delayed response. Immediately, the mind begins its work. They are upset. I said something wrong. They are losing interest. Within seconds, emotion follows imagination. Your body reacts to a story that does not exist. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception. Between the event and your reaction, there is a space, a sacred space, and in that space lives freedom. Most people never notice it. They fuse instantly with interpretation. But the Stoic learns to pause, not to suppress emotion, not to become cold, but to see clearly. A message is only a message. Silence is only silence. A moment is only a moment. Suffering begins when imagination claims certainty. You may have noticed something strange about overthinking. It rarely focuses on what you can control. Instead, it circles endlessly around what you cannot. Other people's opinions, future outcomes, past decisions, unchangeable moments. Your mind attempts to negotiate with reality itself. If I think enough, maybe I can rewrite the past. If I worry enough, maybe I can control the future. But reality remains unmoved, and exhaustion grows. Epictetus taught that peace begins when you divide life into two simple categories. What belongs to you, and what does not? Your effort belongs to you. Your character belongs to you. Your choices belong to you. But outcomes, reputation, other people's thoughts, never yours. Overthinking is the refusal to accept this boundary. It is the mind trying to govern an uncontrollable universe, Consider how often your suffering comes from imagined futures. You fear embarrassment before it happens, failure before it occurs, rejection before it arrives. You live emotional experiences twice, first in imagination, then in reality, sometimes only in imagination. The Stoic path does not remove uncertainty. It removes your dependence on certainty. You begin to understand you do not need to predict life to meet it. You only need to meet it as yourself, prepared, calm. There is a quiet strength that emerges when you stop fighting every possibility. You walk into conversations without rehearsing perfection. You make decisions without demanding guaranteed success. You allow moments to unfold, and something unexpected happens. Your mind becomes quieter, not because thoughts disappear, but because you no longer chase them. Like waves hitting the shore, they arrive and leave without pulling you into the ocean. This is inner sovereignty. The realization that your peace does not require a perfect world, only a disciplined mind. The modern world confuses control with domination. It teaches you to control outcomes, control impressions, control how others perceive you. But Stoicism teaches self-command instead. You cannot control whether someone appreciates you, but you can control whether you act with integrity. You cannot control whether life becomes easy, but you can control whether you remain steady. Overthinking fades when your focus returns to action rather than speculation. You act where action is possible. You release what never belonged to you. Perhaps your overthinking comes from caring deeply. You want to avoid mistakes, avoid hurting others, avoid regret. There is kindness hidden inside your anxiety. But the Stoics understood something essential. Virtue does not require perfection, only sincerity. You are allowed to be misunderstood, allowed to fail, allowed to learn publicly. When you accept this, a heavy burden lifts. You stop trying to engineer a flawless life and begin living an honest one. There is another layer few people recognize. Overthinking often masks fear of fate itself. You resist uncertainty because you resist what life may bring. Yet the Stoics practiced something radical. Amor fati, love of fate, not passive acceptance, not resignation, but the willingness to say, whatever happens, I will use it. Every difficulty becomes training. Every setback becomes refinement. Every unexpected turn becomes part of your becoming. When fate is no longer your enemy, the mind stops scanning for threats. It rests. Notice how calm people move through chaos. They are not emotionless. They simply do not argue with reality. Traffic exists. Mistakes happen. People disappoint. Plans change. They respond instead of resisting. Overthinking is resistance extended in time. Calm strength is acceptance paired with action. You begin asking a different question. Not, why is this happening to me? But, how shall I meet this? And suddenly life becomes participation instead of struggle. You may still feel the impulse to analyze tonight. Your mind may attempt to replay this day again. That is natural. The Stoic does not wage war against thought. He changes his relationship with it. When a thought arrives, you observe. You ask gently, is this within my control? If not, you release it. Again, and again, and again. Peace is not achieved once. It is practiced. Quietly, patiently, daily. Like strengthening a muscle no one else can see. Over time, something profound occurs. You trust yourself more, not because life becomes predictable, but because you become steady. You realize you can endure discomfort, face uncertainty, recover from mistakes, and the mind no longer needs endless rehearsal, because you know you will meet whatever comes. This is freedom, not freedom from problems, freedom from mental captivity. Perhaps right now you feel a small stillness, a slowing, as if the noise has stepped slightly backward. That stillness has always existed within you. It was never created by philosophy, only uncovered. The Stoics did not promise a painless life. They offered something better, a peaceful mind inside an unpredictable world, a calm center untouched by chaos. And maybe the end of overthinking is not the absence of thought, but the return to presence, to this breath, this moment, this life as it is. So tonight before sleep, when another thought appears asking for judgment, prediction, or worry, pause. Observe it, let it pass, and remember, you are not the storm, you are the sky that holds it. And now a question for you. If you stopped trying to control every possible outcome, who would you become? The question may linger with you longer than expected. Not loudly, but quietly, like a door left slightly open. Because beneath overthinking, beneath anxiety, beneath endless mental rehearsal, there often lives a deeper fear. If you stopped controlling everything, would you still be enough? Many people do not overthink because they are weak. They overthink because they believe vigilance is survival. Somewhere in your life, you may have learned that mistakes carried consequences, that being unprepared invited pain, that awareness meant safety. So the mind became a guardian, always alert, always scanning, always anticipating danger before it arrived. And for a time, this protected you, but what once protected you may now imprison you. The Stoics observed that the mind easily confuses caution with wisdom. True wisdom does not live in constant tension. It lives in clarity. Socrates walked through crowded streets asking simple questions. He did not claim certainty. He did not rush to conclusions. He practiced something rare, comfort with not knowing. Overthinking is often the refusal to accept uncertainty. You want guarantees before action, certainty before movement, approval before expression, yet life never grants these conditions. The Stoics understood that waiting for perfect clarity means waiting forever, and so they trained themselves differently. They acted according to reason and character, then released attachment to results, not because outcomes did not matter, but because obsession with outcomes destroys peace long before outcomes arrive. Think about the last decision that consumed your thoughts. Perhaps you asked yourself repeatedly, what if I choose wrong? But hidden inside that question is an assumption. That one decision determines your entire future. That life is fragile enough to collapse from a single imperfect step. Reality is quieter than that. Life is not a narrow path. It is an unfolding landscape. You adjust. You learn. You adapt. The Stoic does not seek perfect decisions. He seeks honest ones, because character corrects what circumstance cannot predict. You may notice how overthinking pulls you away from experience itself. You sit with friends while analyzing how you appear. You work while imagining future failure. You rest while feeling guilty for resting. Your body lives in the present. Your mind lives everywhere else, and so you never fully arrive anywhere. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly, confine yourself to the present, not as an escape, but as liberation. The present moment is the only place where action exists. The past cannot be corrected by thought. The future cannot be secured by worry. Only now belongs to you. And strangely, when attention returns to now, overthinking loses its fuel, because imagination requires distance from reality. Presence dissolves it. Notice how children move through the world. They act, they feel, they recover quickly. They do not hold internal trials against themselves. But adulthood introduces self-surveillance. You begin watching yourself live instead of simply living. The Stoic path gently dismantles this habit. It invites you back into direct experience, to speak without rehearsing 10 versions first, to try without demanding perfection, to exist without constant evaluation. This is not carelessness, it is courage. The courage to live without excessive self-interference. There will still be moments when the mind returns to old patterns. A sleepless night, an awkward interaction, a sudden uncertainty. You may feel disappointment in yourself. I thought I had moved past this. But the Stoics never expected permanent mastery. They expected practice. Even the wisest minds repeated the same lessons daily, not because they failed, but because being human requires continual remembering. You do not eliminate overthinking once. You outgrow it gradually, like leaving behind a habit that no longer serves your life. There is a profound shift that happens when you stop demanding emotional comfort. Most overthinking begins as an attempt to avoid discomfort. You analyze so you will not feel embarrassment. You predict so you will not feel fear. You hesitate so you will not feel rejection. But discomfort is not damage, it is instruction. The Stoics trained themselves to endure small discomfort willingly, to speak honestly even when nervous, to act even when uncertain, to face reality without emotional negotiation. And something surprising followed. The mind relaxed, because it no longer needed endless preparation against feeling uncomfortable. You realize you can survive discomfort, and once this becomes clear, overthinking loses its purpose. Look closely at calm individuals. They are not free from difficulty. They simply stopped believing that every emotion requires correction. Sadness visits. They allow it. It passes. Uncertainty appears. They observe it. They continue acting. They do not add secondary suffering. Overthinking is secondary suffering, pain created by resistance to experience. When resistance fades, emotional storms shorten. You begin to trust life's rhythm. Perhaps loneliness has also fueled your thinking. Moments when silence feels heavy. When the mind fills emptiness with analysis about relationships, belonging, or meaning. The Stoics spent long periods alone, not because they rejected people, but because they cultivated companionship with themselves. Inner sovereignty means you are never abandoned by your own presence. You become someone whose company feels steady, someone who does not require constant distraction to feel whole. And then solitude changes. It stops feeling like absence. It becomes restoration. There comes a moment on the Stoic path when you notice something subtle. You are no longer arguing with life as often. Small inconveniences do not linger. Embarrassments fade faster. Decisions feel lighter, not because life simplified, but because you simplified your relationship with it. You stopped demanding certainty, stopped rehearsing catastrophe, stopped negotiating endlessly with the uncontrollable. You began meeting life directly, and direct living leaves little room for excessive thinking. Imagine waking tomorrow with a different orientation toward thought. Thoughts still arise, but instead of pulling you into endless loops, they pass through awareness like travelers passing through a quiet town. You greet them. You do not follow them. You remain steady, present, available to reality, instead of imprisoned by imagination. This is the Stoic way, not suppression, not detachment from life, but harmony with it. And slowly, almost without noticing, your energy returns. You laugh more freely. You speak more honestly. You act more decisively, because mental space has opened. Where worry once lived, attention now lives. Where anxiety once ruled, clarity now stands. You realize that peace was never hidden from you. It waited behind unnecessary struggle. So tonight, when the mind begins another long conversation with itself, do not fight it. Sit quietly, breathe, and remember the ancient understanding. A thought is only powerful if you grant it authority. You are the one who decides which thoughts become actions, which thoughts become silence, which thoughts simply pass. And perhaps as you close this moment, consider this gently. If your thoughts no longer defined you, what part of yourself would finally be free? There is a moment that comes to nearly every human life. Though few recognize it while it is happening, a quiet realization begins to form. You start to see that the mind you have trusted for so long is not always a reliable guide, not because it is broken, but because it is afraid. Overthinking is not intelligence in excess. It is fear wearing the mask of wisdom. The Stoics noticed this centuries ago. They observed how easily the mind invents danger where none exists, how it prepares endlessly for suffering that may never arrive. And they asked a question that changed everything. What if peace is not found by solving every thought, but by questioning the authority of thought itself? You may have spent years believing that thinking more carefully would eventually bring certainty. That one day, if you reflected deeply enough, worried responsibly enough, analyzed thoroughly enough, the anxiety would finally stop. But notice how the opposite often happens. The more you analyze, the more possibilities appear. The more possibilities appear, the less decisive you feel. And the less decisive you feel, the more the mind searches again. A perfect circle, endless motion without progress. The Stoic breaks this cycle not by force, but by recognition. You begin to see that many thoughts are not problems to solve. They are mental habits repeating themselves, like echoes in an empty hall. Consider how rarely overthinking concerns what is truly happening right now. In this moment, you are breathing. Your body is alive. Life is continuing without demanding perfection from you. Yet the mind travels elsewhere, to imagined criticism, future failure, past embarrassment. It abandons reality for speculation. And each time it leaves the present, it carries your peace with it. Marcus Aurelius wrote reminders to himself constantly because he understood something deeply human. Awareness fades. You forget again and again that peace exists only where your attention rests. So the practice becomes simple. Return, not once, but repeatedly. Return to what is in front of you, the sound around you, the weight of your breath, the fact that this moment asks only your presence. You may ask quietly, if I stop overthinking, will I become careless? The Stoics answered this without hesitation. No. Clarity does not create recklessness. It creates precision. Overthinking clouds judgment, because emotion overwhelms perception. A calm mind sees more accurately. It notices what matters, ignores what does not, acts without hesitation born from fear. True discipline is not constant analysis. It is the ability to act without inner chaos. Think of an experienced sailor navigating rough seas. He does not panic at every wave. He does not predict every storm endlessly. He adjusts the sail. He observes the wind. He responds to reality as it unfolds. Overthinking attempts to control the ocean. Stoicism teaches you to master the ship, and once you understand this distinction, a profound relief emerges. You were never responsible for the waves, only for how you steer. There is also a hidden exhaustion carried by those who overthink. You may feel it without naming it. Decision fatigue, emotional heaviness, a sense of always being mentally occupied. Even rest becomes effort because the mind refuses stillness. The Stoics treated stillness as a form of strength, to sit quietly without needing distraction, to walk without internal commentary, to exist without evaluating every experience. These were not small achievements. They were signs of inner freedom, because the person who can be alone with their thoughts, without being dominated by them, has already won a rare victory. Perhaps part of you fears letting go of overthinking, because it feels like losing control. But look carefully. Has overthinking truly given you control, or has it only given you tension? Control in the Stoic sense is not prediction. It is readiness. Readiness to meet joy without clinging. Readiness to meet difficulty without collapse. Readiness to meet uncertainty without panic. When readiness replaces prediction, the mind softens. You stop trying to live life in advance. You begin living it as it arrives. There is a subtle courage required for this way of living, a courage rarely celebrated. The courage to allow life to be unfinished, unresolved conversations, uncertain outcomes, incomplete understanding. You stop demanding closure from every experience, and paradoxically, peace appears where certainty once seemed necessary, because life itself is movement. Only the mind insists on final answers. You may remember moments when you felt completely absorbed, watching the ocean, listening to music, walking at night under quiet streets. In those moments, overthinking disappeared, not because problems vanished, but because you were fully present. Presence dissolves unnecessary thought. The Stoics did not chase happiness. They cultivated presence, and happiness often followed quietly behind it. As your relationship with thought changes, your identity begins to change as well. You no longer define yourself by mental noise. You see thoughts as visitors rather than rulers. Anger visits, you observe it. Doubt appears, you acknowledge it. Fear speaks, you listen without surrendering authority. Self-command is born here, not from suppression, but from awareness combined with choice. You choose which thoughts deserve action. You choose which emotions deserve patience. You choose who you become moment by moment, and something unexpected begins to happen. Life feels lighter, not easier, but lighter. You recover faster from mistakes. You forgive yourself sooner. You move forward without dragging yesterday behind you. You realize that strength was never loud. It was calm endurance, a quiet refusal to be dominated by internal storms. The Stoics called this tranquility, not indifference, but harmony between mind and reality. Imagine reaching the end of a difficult day. No mental replay, no harsh self-judgment, no endless reconstruction of conversations, only a simple reflection. I acted according to my values. I did what I could. The rest belongs to life, and then rest. Real rest. The kind many people search for but rarely experience, because rest begins when resistance ends. Perhaps the greatest secret of Stoicism is this: you do not need to eliminate overthinking forever. You only need to stop believing it defines you. Thoughts will come. They always have, but now you recognize them as weather passing through a vast sky. And you are not the weather. You are the awareness beneath it, steady, unshaken, whole. So as this conversation comes to its quiet close, take a moment. Notice the silence between thoughts. Notice the space that has always been there. That space is freedom. And maybe the Stoic path was never about becoming someone new, but remembering the calm strength that has been within you all along. Let this question remain with you tonight. If peace has always been available within you, why continue searching for it everywhere else? And perhaps now, you begin to notice something subtle. The pace of your mind has changed, not dramatically, not permanently, but enough to feel a difference. Like entering a quiet room after hours of noise. The world has not slowed. Only your participation in its urgency has softened. This is how transformation begins, not with sudden revelation, but with recognition. For most of your life, you may have believed that thinking endlessly meant caring deeply. That constant mental activity proved responsibility, intelligence, or awareness. But the Stoics saw another truth. A restless mind is often a searching mind, searching for safety, searching for approval, searching for certainty. And beneath all searching lies a simple human desire, to feel secure in an uncertain world. Overthinking is an attempt to build emotional security through mental effort. Yet security built on prediction will always fail. Because life refuses prediction, storms arrive without permission. Opportunities appear without warning. People change without explanation, and the mind, unable to control these movements, becomes exhausted trying. The Stoic does something radically different. He stops negotiating with uncertainty. He befriends it. Imagine walking through life without demanding guarantees. You still prepare, you still care, you still act with intention, but you release the belief that peace depends on outcomes. You begin trusting your ability to respond, rather than your ability to foresee. This changes everything, because confidence no longer comes from knowing the future. It comes from knowing yourself. You know you can endure discomfort. You know you can adapt. You know you can recover. And once you trust your resilience, the mind no longer needs endless rehearsal. Many people misunderstand Stoicism as emotional distance. They imagine a person untouched by feeling, but the Stoic is not less emotional. He is less ruled by emotion. He feels fully, without becoming captive. Joy arrives, he appreciates it without clinging. Loss arrives, he grieves without collapse. Uncertainty arrives, he continues walking. Emotional mastery is not suppression, it is stability, like a deep ocean whose surface waves never disturb its depths. Overthinking lives at the surface. Wisdom lives below it. There is also a quiet honesty required on this path. You begin noticing how often the mind creates suffering through imagination alone. You predict rejection before speaking. You assume judgment before acting. You anticipate failure before trying. You suffer many lives that never occur. The Stoics gently invited themselves back to reality again and again. Not because reality was always pleasant, but because it was always simpler than fear imagined. Reality asks for action. Imagination demands perfection, and perfection is a burden no human being can carry. You may start seeing your past differently. Moments that once felt unbearable, you survived. Decisions you feared making, you made them. Pain you thought would break you became part of your strength. Your life already contains evidence of resilience. Overthinking ignores this evidence. It treats you as fragile when experience has proven otherwise. The Stoic practice restores trust in your own endurance. You realize you have always been more capable than your fears. There comes a moment when you stop asking life to remove difficulty. Instead, you ask yourself to grow large enough to meet it. This is the essence of endurance. Not hardening the heart, but strengthening the spirit. You stop avoiding challenges mentally before they appear. You allow experience to arrive naturally, and you discover something liberating. Most situations are far less frightening when lived than when imagined. The mind amplifies shadows. Reality reduces them. Perhaps you begin noticing fewer internal arguments, less need to defend yourself in imaginary conversations, less desire to replay past interactions, seeking a different ending. You understand now. The past is a completed chapter. No amount of thinking edits it. The Stoic honors the past not by revisiting it endlessly, but by learning once and moving forward. You carry wisdom, not regret. Loneliness, too, begins to change form. You stop seeing solitude as evidence of absence. Instead, it becomes a place where clarity grows. You listen to yourself without distraction. You become familiar with your own mind, and familiarity removes fear. When you are no longer afraid of your own thoughts, overthinking dissolves naturally, because fear no longer feeds it. You may notice relationships changing as well. You listen more carefully. You react less impulsively. You speak with intention rather than anxiety. Calmness becomes your presence. Others feel it, not because you try to impress them, but because you are no longer trying to manage how you are perceived. Inner sovereignty quietly reshapes outer life. You stop performing. You begin existing. The Stoics often reflected on mortality, not to create sadness, but to create urgency for presence. One day, every worry occupying your mind today will disappear. Every imagined judgment will fade. Every small embarrassment will lose meaning. Seen from the perspective of time, much of what fuels overthinking becomes insignificant. This realization is not depressing. It is freeing. You understand that life is too brief to spend mostly inside imagined scenarios. You return to living directly, and now something deeper unfolds. You recognize that peace was never hidden behind achievements, approval, or perfect decisions. It was hidden behind resistance. Behind the belief that life must unfold according to your expectations. Once expectation softens, peace reveals itself naturally. You breathe differently. You move differently. You think differently, not because the world changed, but because you stopped fighting its nature. So when tomorrow arrives, thoughts will still come. Some anxious, some critical, some persuasive. But now you know something you did not fully know before. You are not obligated to follow every thought. You are free to observe, free to choose, free to return again and again to calm awareness. And each time you do, you strengthen the quiet authority within you. The authority of self-command. Let this final reflection stay with you as you step back into your life. When the mind begins racing toward fear, memory, or prediction, pause gently. Feel the present moment beneath you and ask yourself, if this moment were enough exactly as it is, what would I stop worrying about right now?